Okay, we're going to read a book, and the book is about the best nest. The best nest. Can you see those rhyming words? Best and nest by B.D. Eastman. Written by and illustrated by P.D. Eastman. Well, look, what do you think the book is going to be about? Okay, let's see. Mr. Bird was happy. He was so happy he had to sing. This was Mr. Bird's song. I love my house, I love my nest. In all the world, my nest is the best. Then Mrs. Bird came out of the house. It's not the best nest, she said. I'm tired of this old place, said Mrs. Bird. I hate it. Let's look for a new place right now. So they left the old place to look for a new one. This place looks nice, said Mr. Bird. Let's move in here. But somebody else had already moved in. So they looked at another house. This one looks nice, said Mr. Bird, and there's nobody in it. You were wrong, said Mrs. Bird. This house belongs to a foot. Oh. So they went on looking. I like this one, said Mr. Bird. It has a pretty red flag on the roof. I've always wanted a house with a flag, said Mrs. Bird. Maybe this place will be all right. But it was not all right. I guess I made a mistake, said Mr. Bird. You made too many mistakes, said Mrs. Bird. I'm going to pick the next house. And here it is, right here. They flew in, they flew around. Isn't it too big? Asked Mr. Bird. I like this big place, said Mrs. Bird. This is the places to build our new nest. They went right to work. They needed many things to build their nest. First, they got some hay. They got some soda straws and broom straws and got some sweater string. Oh no. They got some stocking string and mattress stuffing. They got some horse hair. They got some man hair. Soon they had all the hay, all the straw, all the string, all the stuffing, all the horse hair, and all the man's hair they could carry. They took it all the way back to build their nest. Mr. and Mrs. Bird worked very hard. It took them the rest of the morning to finish their nests. This nest is really the best, said Mrs. Bird. I want to stay here forever. Mr. Bird was very happy too. He flew to the top of his house. He sang his song again. I love our house, I love our nest. In all the world, our nest is the best. He was so busy singing, he didn't even see Mr. Parker coming. Every day at 12 o'clock, Mr. Parker came to the church. Mr. Parker came to pull a rope. The rope went up to the bird's nest, the new nest. Oh no, what's gonna happen? The rope rang this big bell right under Mrs. Bird's nest. Bong, bong, bong. A bird nest. Mrs. Bird got out of there as fast as she could fly. Bong, 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 bong. Oh no. When Mr. Bird came in, all he could see was a mess of hay and string and stuffing and horsehair and men's hair and straws. Where was Mrs. Bird? I would look for her until I find her, said Mr. Bird. He looked high, he looked low, he looked everywhere for Mrs. Bird. Can you say the word hi? Let's say hi. Can you say the word low? Low. Boys and girls, what kind of words are those? Those are opposite words. He looked down into a chimney, but Mrs. Bird wasn't there. He looked down into a water barrel, but Mrs. Bird wasn't there. Then he saw a big fat cat. There was a big fat smile on the fat cat's face. There were some pretty brown feathers near the fat cat's mouth. Boys and girls, what is that word? Fat cat. Fat cat. Get it? Fat and cat are rhyming words because they have the same sound at the end, right? Fat cat. Mr. Bird began to cry. Oh dear, he cried. This big fat cat has eaten Mrs. Bird. Did you hear two rhyming words again? Mr. Bird flew off. I'll never see Mrs. Bird again, he cried. It was getting dark. It began to rain. It rained harder and harder. Mr. Bird could not see where he was going. Oh no. Crash! Crash! Mr. Bird bumped into something. I wonder what it is. Do you guys know what it is? Let's find out. Oh, sorry, boys and girls. It was his old house. The old house that Mrs. Bird hated. I'll go inside, said Mr. Bird. I'll rest here until the rain stops. Mr. Bird went in, and there was Mrs. Bird singing there, sitting there and singing. I love my house, I love my nest, in all the world this nest is the best. You there? Gasped Mr. Bird. I thought you hated this whole house, this whole nest. Mrs. Bird smiled. I used to hate it, she said, but a mother bird can change her mind. You see? What is this, boys and girls? There is no nest like an old nest for a brand new bird egg. And when the egg popped open, the new bird thought so too. Hello! What is this, boys and girls? A new baby bird. And that's the end of the story. Thank you. Thank you for listening.